ברוך אתה היה אלוהינו חי העולמים אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה. והערבנו היה אלוהינו דברי תורתך בפינו ובפי אדם כל בית ישראל, ונהיה אנחנו כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדו תורתך לשמה. ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו וצאצאי צאצאינו וצאצאי צאצאינו לומדו תורה לשמה. ברוך אתה היה המלמד תורה לעם ישראל. ברוך אתה היה אלוהינו חי העולמים אשר בחר בנו עם כל העמים ונתן לנו תורתו. ברוך אתה היה נותן התורה. אומר משה דבר אל אהרון ואל בניו לאמור כה תבוך את בני ישראל אמור להם יברך אדוני וישברך יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונקה יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך שלום. Amen. Thank you, that's good.
Thank you.
You can hand me this, please. Thank you. Could we shut that door?
Yeah.
Hurts my eyes, the light.
We're just bringing one thing out and it'll shut.
Okay. Let me know when it's closed. Okay.
It's closed.
I'm dealing with macular degeneration. Eye is an issue. And I tell you, when you're going to be in my years, don't be ashamed to tell people that you need help. All right. Learning Torah Lishma means that you have to, from time to time, make a chidush. Because in Beit HaMidrash below chidush, there's always a chidush that happens. I'm writing some stuff that is sort of abstract, philosophical, psychological. And here I'm reading the Piasetzna, and I see he's talking right to my condition. I open up a sefer by the Ohev Yisrael, the Abdarov, and he is saying something that I get so excited, I right away run to the computer to copy out that shtickle so I can share it with people because it is, it hits the target. I want to say that having studied, and some of you are still studying, that you make a kviyut for yourself, that you learn not only what the Ba'ad tells you to learn, I know you got lots there, but a little bit each day yourself. For that reason, I've gone through a Sefer HaChasidut, in which there are 100 Rebbes, described by their history and also some wonderful gems of their teaching. And on the RZLP, whatever it's called, on my blog, Seth puts always every month the Rebbes on who are mentioned there, so that on the yahrzeit of a Rebbe you can learn. Well, today is the yahrzeit of Rabbi Zoshev Anipoli. Reuben Gold was his name. He was a storyteller in Chicago quite a while ago. Was a very good soul. I remember him most for the way in which he would tell the story that when Rabbi Zusha had come to Mezrich and was studying with the rest of the Talmidim of the Maggid, and as soon as the Maggid would begin to speak, and God said to Moshe, he would start screaming, "God spoke! Did you hear? God spoke!" So they had to take him away from the room because he was disturbing everybody. But I want to tell you something, if you don't get it inside of your kishkes, that for all the infinities, and for all the omniverses, and for all the string theories and all that kind of stuff, God spoke. And this is so wonderful again, because when it comes to various Rebbes, they're making sure that you don't make a mistake, that you think that the speaking of God was into your ears, that God was driving air to drive your eardrums to tell you something. Therefore, when Eliyahu Hanavi makes his way to Choref, and there is a big tumult there, there's a rash, there's a fire, there's a this, there's a that, and not in these is God. Who's coming in who shouldn't be here?
They're all students.
Okay. Where was I?
Eliyahu Hanavi went to.
Pardon?
Eliyahu Hanavi went to Choreh.
Yes, thank you. So usually they translate that he heard a small, still voice. The Hebrew is a little different. It says, call the sound, the mama of a silence, daka, subtle, the sound of subtle silence. Now, I'm very happy about the davening, because every time I come here and you daven, we daven together, I say to myself, all the troubles about Jewish renewal were worth it. That we should be able to have from time to time a minyan where we can really, really be involved in what should happen in davening. Because from the morphogenetic field, from the business of the 100 monkey, every time when we daven like this, we send something out that even in a shul that's full of only men, they also get it a little bit. I was saying to the Musmachot before, that Pharaoh was saying, Lechuna hagvarim, I'll let the men go. And I want to say that the voice of Pharaoh is now with the Rabbonim who are in charge, or think they're in charge at the Kotel, when they say Lechuna hagvarim, because it is so important. Why does the Shechina make sure to make so many women feel that they should get smicha? Because she feels that the planet cannot heal without any right brain input. Right now, it has always been, you know, when Hermann Cohen came and said, oh, der Judaismus ist eine Religion der Vernunft, it's a religion of reason, you know, so fine, enough already, you know, because you can reason with reason, and every generation reasons a little differently and so on. But there was some stuff that we had in the past and that was sort of discarded. I'm not happy about the fact that I read about, no, his name doesn't want to come right now. Okay, how he hung machshefot. Someone will remind me of his name in a moment. When you hear that Shaul HaMelech needed to get some word, he had to go to Endor and find a lady who could still channel for him. The whole business of where are we with the deeper levels of spirituality? Where are we when it comes, we talk about there is already transpersonal psychology, but we haven't yet learned how to handle transpersonal sociology. If could you imagine someone came with a description of what happens here right now? The way in which your mirror neurons are tuned to mine and mine to yours. And to feel the underpinnings of a lot of love, that's the carrier wave of us here. And along with that comes every time you nod with your head and you say, I know that, you know? So then that's also part of that, of the shared group mind that we have. So other denominations, I don't want to call it a denomination, don't talk about stuff like that. And it's our thing to be able to bring it back. When my mother, Shalomi, used to stand in front of the Shabbos candles and pray, she would tell the Rabbi Shalom exactly what she should do for her great-grandchildren, each one that she mentioned. There is an element of the Pashat Yid, you know, the simple Jew, that the Baal Shem Tov, when somebody said to him, how could you believe that? He says, Ich bin a pesi yamen l'chol dover. When it comes to the issue of Emunah, I make it very simple. Make it very simple. That's why I want to say, make sure that when you daven, you repeat a few times before you, Ata, 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 Ata. So that you become Nochach Pnei Hashem, that you have a real sense of the presence. I like to say to people that this call is being monitored for quality purposes. You know, I really don't want to bullshit you, so I come to a place of where I can do like what the Muslims want to do. They say, Ashadu, I bear witness, you know. Ashadu. Allah, la ilaha illallah, yes. By saying Ata, I remember how, oh gosh, names. David Zeller of Shalom used to sing with people, Riboy Shalom, Riboy Shalom, Riboy Shalom. And if you repeat that in Ata, you'll see that then, just be very clear that you'll get a message and say, today you're not to daven from the Siddur. These messages do come, and it's because the Rebbe Shalom is reminding us that something is coming up during the day that you really need to pray about. I don't need that. I need you to ask about what you need. Okay, so that'll come up for you when you daven. I believe that our Siddur is not made for different phases of life. Certainly not made for someone in my years. I wouldn't want to take Tefillah Moshe and put it only on Shabbos. I'm right there, you know. From Tehillim, different things start coming in. And I think we have to become clear not to be ashamed for anyone who pulls authority over us. Because I pointed out to the Musmachot before, our smicha doesn't start with Isaac Meir Weiss or with Mordechai Kaplan. It starts with Moshe Rabbeinu, and it's a shlichut, and you have been sent to be shlichim. Now the wonderful thing is a shliach can make another shliach. And a shliach, when he is a real shliach, is empowered to pay attention to the local situations and to make sure that the shlichut should be fulfilled in the best possible way, and not necessarily how the Meshaleach thought, because his intent would not be fulfilled. We learn a lot of shlichut from Gittin. You know, when a shliach comes to Medinat Hayam, what he has to say, how he has to behave, and so on and so forth, because he has to check out, where is this your name, is this not your name, and so, all these things have to be checked out in great detail. So there's time and space that tells us important things. These have to change. Somewhere, if you wanted, ask me, and we'll send it to you, or if someone can blog that for us. There's a teaching of Rav Shlomi about the Torah of the 9 months. Beautiful, beautiful teaching. He points out that when you hear how do you know somebody is your real teacher? Because every time you hear something, you say, I knew that. I knew that. I knew it inside. I knew it inside. In fact, it is that part that you knew on the inside that doesn't let you really get bullshitted. You know, if somebody pulls authority and says, yeah, but that's not what my malach taught me. There's a beautiful Monsieur Ibrahim is the name of the movie. If you've seen it, it's a beautiful movie, where he says, an old Sufi, and he says, in my Quran, in my Quran, so keep that in mind, you know, that you have it's yours. You have to make decisions, and that's going to be important. On the other hand, don't be intimidated by people who say this is not rational, because they've been going with the left brain the whole time, and we need right brain stuff. The planet can't heal without that. So that means we have to get into the durative from the punctive. We have to go and have more permission given for the growth to come from inside rather than imposed from the outside. All these are important things. And he talks about the Malach teaching for 9 months there. I'm thinking of the Vad being the people who taught you in the womb, as it were, of becoming rabbis. But then, there are 3 months that you don't have any teaching for. And Reb Nachman tells us that we come into this world to acquire the Seichel Hanikne, that which we have to acquire by our experience. You don't come to Ohalah ela im kein tau betchila. If you didn't make a mistake before, and if you didn't, you know, then you don't really know what the halacha is. You have to. This is why it isn't a passing on of information, but it is seeding. This is what we're going to be doing, seeding the shamas in a way, so that they can have access, a node to the internet, you know, from which they will have to get the strength to make sure. And I want you to become caring enough to share with each other the Seichel Hanikna, what you have found out. Because I want to tell you, if I look in the Mishnah Brura, it's wonderful, but no Seichel Hanikna there. So recently I read something that a wonderful rabbi in Israel, Amsterdam is his name, wrote that we need a posek hador, a new posek hador, somebody who knows what the door is like to pasking for. There's an Orthodox person who wrote that, who broke away from the Shas party. Amazing. He is begging people to have some, make it easier for conversion in Israel, because he feels that they're making it too hard. So I want to say this thing about Seichel Hanikna. Just a moment, there's something else. I get sometimes people asking me questions about where is renewal, where is Zalman in the issue of Israel. And I want to tell you that when I say "V'tachzena einenu b'shuvcha l'tzion berachamim," I mean it. When I say "Bone berachamav Yerushalayim Amen," I mean it. But I want to tell you it's very, very hard to be in Israel because we don't have enough input into shifting the cultural frame. And it's an oppressive frame to the point that Moment magazine points out that Jerusalem and Tel Aviv are two different countries. So if you can understand that, I have problems there. I tried. What I wanted to do in Israel was two things. One of them, I wanted to make a setup where people who come back from Miluim would spend some time to become civil again. Because, you know, as it was year after year, a language that used to be mellifluous and became raucous. That's how the discourse often happens there. I'm sad for that. I'm sad for that. And on the other hand, I was talking to a Chaver and asked him if he had ever been to the Sloneber Beis Medrash when they sing. Nobody has ever recorded it, and they always tell me that this is the most wonderful and eerie sound that you could imagine, and how it opens you up to things. When you were singing yesterday the Al Tira of the Yaakov, there was such a bubble in my heart that went, ay da day day, ay da day day, ay da day day, ay ay ay. Because I had memories when I was singing this as a prayer, especially Motzei Shabbos, as you were doing it with the Al Tira of the Yaakov. So I want to say, your aim should be, wherever you're going to be, I know that you have to make parnasa and build the community, build a shul and do all that stuff. But if you can get yourself a group of people who will meet during the week for a little lab in Davening and meet on Shabbos afternoon for Suda Shlishit, modeled after yesterday, what a wonderful thing you will do. It is written that the word don't come yet about that Shol Achaz be'olam hazeh b'tshuva u'masim tovim is better than kol chayei olam haba. Pardon? Yeah, yep, very good, thank you. So they asked, which hour is that hour? So Mendele Koska said the Shalosh Shudas. It's the time when tshuva is the most delicious kind that there can be. It is mixed with a wonderful longing, saying, when will I see you again, you know, and thank you for a wonderful Shabbos, and all that. So I know that America has made a tikkun on the Friday night service, to the point that in some shuls you do Kriyas HaTorah then because you don't see him any other time, and that's good. And I would like to see that a room is being made in every shul, both with time for personal prayer, to say to people, now, with the ark open, you can sit, you can stand, with the ark open. If you have a tallis, put it over your head and talk to God about what's really, really troubling. V'tashlim mishalim deliboy v'libo l'chalamach Yisrael l'tav v'l'chayin v'lishlom. That's what it was supposed to be at the open ark. Very few people feel that, the tzolas they have to take elsewhere and they can't bring them to God. This is bad. I don't know if you have the chutzpah to do that, but I wish you that you would find some people with whom you could do that. I could say to Rabbi Michael, you're God, I'm God, but the place from which I come is never now the ego. And I have a need. Would you please put your ego aside and let me talk to the God within you? Yehi Ratzon, that those people who couldn't make it to be here with us because of illness or other reasons, that they be helped. Say Amen.
Amen.
You nodded with your head, and I have a sense that I got, yes, this prayer was accepted. You see, the issue is, I could do this directly to me, to my own God within. Oh, but the ego sits at that place and says, you mean me, you mean me, you mean me. It's always easier with another person. Michael didn't have anything to lose when I said, put your ego aside a little bit. So try and do that if you can with some people. Because you will see how even when you do it alone later on, how much more alive it will be. That's why the ata is important. So I want to repeat about learning Torah the Shema. Make sure, if you can do it with a chaver, there's no excuse with Skype and with the work. There's no excuse not to have chivrus anymore. And it is so important. I want to say, Leman Yerichan Yemecha, God willing, your children or your grandchildren will see, what are you doing? I'm studying Torah. That's a way to make sure that it'll reach other generations. ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון ברחמים. המחזיר שכינתו לציון, מודים אנחנו לך. So how does that work? Tzion in the Sforim says is that which is in the heart. It is that the center of the heart is called Tzion. That's the Mishkan for God. Hamachazir Shchinato Tzion. How do you bring the Shekhinah back to Tzion? Go into your grateful mentality. Modim anachnu lach, modim anachnu lach, modim anachnu. When you're there, you can feel the Shekhinah in your heart, and that's very wonderful. It is a regret that our culture and writing and what has to happen in the right brain and in the feminine, that somehow there wasn't a good emulator. Could you imagine if every time there was something going on? I'm just trying to go for a moment. The lady, the Shunamit, who made the place for Elisha, how she looked at him and how she thought of him and what respect she had for him. And the sense that here comes a person who is loaded with stuff that nobody else can handle. If you don't have enough oil, you can make extra oil. If you need to have a prophecy, okay, send for the fiddler, you'll make with a prophecy. The kind of shamanic people that we used to have, they didn't have a chance to write about it, didn't have a chance, but they gave it over. And Reb Nadia's grandmother has given her such a remarkable gift, and it's good that this should spread. It doesn't have to necessarily spread by sitting in class. It can be just by a touch, as it were. I may have told you this story when I first started to study the Slonima, the Siva Sholem. And he begins by saying that two things are necessary. Dveikut, to be connected with God, and Da'at, awareness of the Dveikut. So it's pretty clear that Da'at is a problem because Dveikut isn't the problem. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't in Dveikut. The Koh HaPoel is B'nifal. God is right here making it happen. So, but am I aware of it? So the issue is awareness. Awareness is something that does not come with words. That's where the other hemisphere of the mind is helping us. You read about this woman who had that stroke. What an amazing story, and it makes it very, very clear that the mystic dwells here with us. And the problem that we are not aware is because we haven't been attuned to it. Because we don't, what was the Shalashudas doing yesterday? If I were coming in from the street and would sit at such a thing, with all the stuff with the lights on and all that, but if I would be sitting here at the singing and the sharing and so on and so forth, I'd come away with a sense, I want that. If you would have explained, well, this is the third meal of the Sabbath, and the people sit and they sing nostalgic songs, so I got the information, But what happened yesterday was attunement. We got attuned, even when it wasn't so happy attuning to the flute, but we got attuned. And so that's wonderful to be able to think that consciousness needs attunement. And whatever I could offer you is to be able to sit for a few minutes, and I'm going to do my dveikut, and you tune into that and see how you could tune into that so it becomes your dveikut, okay? Narayanam, Narayanam, Narayanai, ay, 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 Ram, sing along, and put the dveikut into the nigun, ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 May all the kavanas and the wonderful longing that all the Rebbes and the Hasidim that sang these nigunim come to you and stay with you, and that would be so wonderful. When you find out that there are some people who have qualities, capabilities, please close the door and stay out.
She's one of our Talmidim.
Oh, then she can come in.
Come in. Come in, Nadine. Eliana, come in.
So I want to
sorry.
say, forgive me, but I just want this to be for you.
And now it is. Okay.
Let me go back. It's very hard when you need to have some helpers, like I need helpers too. I was at the last point with the niggin and the people who were singing the niggin and asking you to pay attention to those people who have capacities that are the weird capacities, that you befriend them, that you allow them to bring these things into conversation. Because many people thought that if they talk about it, people will think they're crazy. We're all crazy. I mean, elsewhere people think we're crazy, but here we feel how sane we are when we come together. So it's really important to do the finding out. Sometimes you need to find out what your guides are saying. Sometimes you need to get the help that a medical intuitive or someone who will be able to share with you something about the dream that you've been having. The whole area in which what they call spontaneous remissions happen and so on and so forth, they don't know about it because they're trying to look at it under the microscope. You have to look through the macroscope to see it in the vast vision of what there is, and that has to do with attunement. And that's where I was going to go with the story. Okay. So when I was studying the Nesiva Shalom, and we got to the business of Dveikut and Da'at, it was about the time when Barya was getting married, the time when I went to the Ukraine. I came to Israel, and a friend of mine made an appointment with me to go and see the Slonim Rebbe. So I went to mikveh and I prepared. You know, as you prepare, you go, you want to do something there. So I came in, And he looked at me like, what is it that you want? So I said, Rebbe, I came for Gmilat Chasadim. What kind of Gmilat Chasadim do you want? I said, I want you to say, Vayadata hayom ve'ashavot elo vecha ki Hashem hu Elokim b'shamayim mimal v'lo mitachat ein od. With your kavanah, while you hold my hand. He turned to his rabbi and says, oh, here's a Jew who understands what's in my books. And took my hand and put it to his chest and talked with me for 20 minutes. It wasn't necessarily what I had ordered on the menu, you know? But it doesn't matter because there was a transmission, and I wanted you to have a continuity of the transmission of that. So that when you get into those places where there is a safek, where you don't know which direction to go and so on and so forth, feel if it is in harmony with where you were when you were having the dveikut passing on. And if it's in harmony with that, trust it. We need a root metaphor, and that's the teaching I got from the Oy of Yesod, how he speaks about how God has to dress him, herself, in ways so that we could recognize, because otherwise we couldn't possibly handle it. So it is a tzimtzum into the partzuf that you have of God. And I've been thinking a lot and working on it to be able to see a lot more the feminine parts of God. You know, it was very easy for me to say, what's the Rabbi Shalom look like the Lubavitcher Rebbe, only more so, you know? But how do you do that? So there are some holy women and that I think of, and it hasn't yet settled into one shape. But it is so much different to talk to God that way. So that might be a worthwhile thing. Hashem said to Abraham, "Va'avocha ma'avocheko." So God will bless those whom I bless. So I bless you all, that you should be the carriers of this blessing further, to give it to other people. It's such a difference when you can say to everything, Baruch Hashem, God bless you, God bless you. I want to tell you something. May you, when you are my age, be able to look around at people around you like this and say, oh, Rabbi Shalom, my life wasn't wasted. It's so, so wonderful. So may you all be blessed, and it's going to be a wonderful day, and make a good clay kibbul for the smicha to come.
Amen.